So it's the Liberty Bowl. That's where Kansas is headed in late December for its first bowl game in well over a decade. We just wrapped up our kind of press conferences with Jalen Daniels, Sam Burt, and Travis Goff. Kind of got their reaction. We talked to Goff about Lance Leipold's new contract as well. Stay tuned later tonight for a video on that. But here we're going to talk specifically about the bowl matchup, KU, Arkansas. Two teams that haven't played in well over 100 years. From my research, it looks like Kansas is 2-0 all time with those wins coming in the early 1900s. A really fascinating matchup, I think, because you often hear about some of these bowl games with SEC teams. Are they going to care? And from my early research, it seems like it's a little bit of a tumultuous time for Arkansas right now. There's going to be some staff turnover there. A lot of players maybe are expected to enter the transfer portal. Interested to see the type of team that shows up there. What I'll tell you about Kansas and what we heard from Jalen Daniels is that they're going to be ready. And that's one of Lance Leipold's messages to the team was the team with more energy is going to win. And the team that comes and plays with more intensity is the one that's going to win. And I think for Kansas, a team that has not played a bowl game in over a decade, obviously this group has really worked hard to get to this point as well. That's something that they are going to want to have, a bowl win over an SEC team. You want to talk about bragging rights. It's maybe not the Missouri game in terms of bragging rights, but the ability to say that, hey, in year two of the Lance Leipold era, you beat an SEC team, you went on the road and won a couple games this year too. A couple big benchmarks, but I think overall a really interesting matchup. I think when I look at first the offenses, how kind of high-powered they can be. KJ Jefferson at Arkansas, really good quarterback, and that's an Arkansas offensive line under Sam Pittman, a former offensive line coach, who is pretty good. So I think overall it'll be a really good test for Kansas. I'm really excited for the game itself. It sounds like Kansas will head out around Christmas time. They'll have a couple days there in Memphis before the game itself. It's going to be a 4:30 kick, ESPN, so KU does get one of the main TV slots for this game. And just really exciting times for the program, and the next month is going to be really important too. You think about the practices that are going to come, the recruiting. Obviously, Kansas just wrapped up a really big official visit weekend here as well, and so a really important next month for Kansas. National Signing Day is on December 21st this year, not the mid-December that we're maybe used to, where it's usually the 14th or 15th. So the coaches now are headed out to go on the road and recruit. Lance Leipold will talk to us here at about 4:30. We'll have some stuff up on fog.net, of course, but exciting times for Kansas. Make sure you stay tuned to fog.net. We'll have you guys all covered with everything you need to know about the bowl game, dates, more player reaction, and of course, we'll talk a little bit more about Travis Goff, what he had to say about Lance Leipold's contract. And before we get out, I want to talk about NIL too. Almost forgot. I thought it was very interesting, Travis Goff saying that with how well the season went for Kansas, he's seeing more interest in giving to NIL. He also said NIL is important to keep the good players at Kansas around. It just shows you where maybe KU's thinking at this point in time with the name, image, and likeness. Obviously, it can be used to recruit players, but this day and age, it also has to be used to keep your good players around. And KU has several good players that I think other teams would like to have as well. So, like I said, crucial time for Kansas. Transfer portal opens tomorrow. You know KU's going to go after some transfers really hard. That'll kind of clear up in the next few weeks as they get out, recruit, see it all. But like I said, that's what I've got for this point in time. But stay tuned to fog.net. We've got you covered. Make sure you like this video. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube as well, plenty more video content to come as we kind of venture into this a little bit more.